In this video, I'm going to show you, beginning to end, how to do a triple ribbed hat with a decrease crown cast off. Just going to show you what the hat looks like. Now this hat was made using Zap yarn and lightning. This is a super bulky yarn. That's what I used for this one right here. And I made this one on the 35 peg child hat loom by Cindy Woodcraft. You can buy it by itself or in the adult 4-piece set. And this makes a hat good size for a 2 to 6 year old. The hat I'm going to use is still one of the child hat looms. It's just a different gauge. This one is the 5/8 inch gauge. This is a 3/4 inch gauge. So it takes it from 35 peg down to a 30 peg loom. And it makes it, this gauge is a little more like your Nifty Knitter or Circle looms. And the yarn I'm going to be using for it is some Serenity Chunky Weight in, what is that? Red Bayou. Alright, so to get started, first of all, you want to set your loom up. Go ahead and set your loom up for the decreased crown to begin with. Whatever size loom you're using, separate into 5 sections. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one just happens to be 5 sections with 6 pegs in each section altogether. Okay, now let's do our cast on, which we're going to use chain cast on. It is my favorite for hats. I just love the way it looks, which I'll just start it anywhere. I'll just start at one of these pegs. Now to do your chain cast on, if you're unfamiliar with this cast on, there is a separate video to show you that, and of course the directions for this cast on will be in the PDF in the description as well. Alright, so do the cast on. Okay, you have your chain cast on. Now the brim of this hat, typically I use a garter brim, but I wanted something a little different. So this is actually just a moss stitch brim. There we go. Kind of turn around so you can see the texture. It's going to lay nice and flat, and I just like the way it looks as well. So to do the moss stitch, your row 1, you will E-wrap 1. And then the next one you will purl. Then you'll E-wrap 1, purl 1. You're going to repeat this all the way around your loom. E-wrap and purl. Now, if at the end, when you get back to your starting peg, if it's an odd number of pegs and you end up with like 2 E-wraps or 2 purls right here, that's perfectly fine. Don't worry about it. So go ahead and do your row 1. Okay, once that first row is done, every other peg will have 2 loops on it, except for this very first one from your cast on, it'll have 3. But what you do is you'll just take both those over that top one. So go all the way around the loom and take that bottom over the top until every single peg just has 1 loop on it. Almost there. Okay, so let me see here. Alright, so we started with an E-wrap. Yeah, had to double check. Okay, so our first row we did E-wrap 1, purl 1 all the way around. The second row, we're going to reverse that for the moss stitch. That's what gives you these little bubbles sticking up. Every other row is reversed. So we're actually going to take and just do our first 6 rows of the moss stitch. So row 1 you E-wrap 1, purl 1, purl 1. Row 2 you're going to purl 1, E-wrap 1 all the way around. Row 3 you will purl 1, E-wrap 1. Row 4 row 3 you'll E-wrap 1, purl 1. You get it. You just reverse it every single time. So it's going to be E-wrap, purl, then purl, E-wrap, then E-wrap, purl, then purl, E-wrap for your first 6 rows. So go ahead and do that now, and then we'll get into the triple rib body. Once you have your 6 rows of moss stitch done, which was just this, now we got to do the triple rib, which is just like it sounds. You do, untangle this stuff. Okay, so you're going to do 3 E-wrap, and then you will purl 3. Then you will E-wrap 3, then you will purl 3. You're going to do this all the way around. You'll do that all the way around, and that's what gives you the triple rib pattern. Now we're going to keep the stitch the same for every single row. At this point, you just do the body of your hat. This one right here was done with 25 rows on a kid loom, so that's what I will do for this one as well. But you can adjust the length for whatever you want to do. If you're doing the decreased cast off that I'm going to be doing, then you want to make sure you have enough rows for the full length of the hat. That cast off will not add any, doesn't really add length to the hat. As you can see, this right here was just the cast off area. Okay, do your 25 rows and then we'll do the cast off. After the body, now we need to do the decrease, and that's where these marked pegs are going to come in handy. Like I said before, separate the loom you're using into 5 equal parts, as equal as possible. Sometimes you can't get them exact. And what we're going to do is you're going to take the loop on the peg before it and put onto that loop on that peg. Now some of these are purled, so they are going to be a little tighter. So you definitely want to try to watch how you do your tension. Okay, so all of them are done. You're going to take this bottom over the top. Like I said, some of these are really tight. Alrighty. Is it the last one? Yes. At this point, you're going to do one round, skipping all the empty pegs. You're going to keep your same pattern. So E-wrap 3. Purl 3. Alright, with that right there is empty. So we're going to go back into E-wrap and purl. Go all the way around to your back at that first peg. After your first round, take your bottom over the top all the way around so that every peg that has a loop on it has only one. Now we're going to skip the empty peg, go to the next one, put the yarn on it. You can go ahead and take the bottom over the top. So you'll have your marked peg, empty peg, peg, empty peg, marked peg, empty peg, peg, and this will be an empty peg. You're going to do that all the way around. Alright, we should have one more, I think. Let's see here. Oh no, one more. Okay. Now you're going to do another round, again skipping the empty pegs. So E-wrap 3, that would have been a purl. Oops. Go ahead and purl this one. Just, you got to pay attention to the empty pegs, that way the top of the crown, even though it's just a few rows, that way it'll still have that same pattern to it and not look off. And we got purl 3. Alright. Second round of the decreased top is done. Now for our third, we're doing the same thing. We're going to have our marked peg, empty peg, peg with a loop, empty peg, peg with a loop, so this one needs to be empty. We're going to take that, move it to the one before it, take the bottom over the top, and go around. Do this all the way around. Alright, there we go. Okay. Are we there? Almost. Oops. And this one. Alright, I think I got them all. Yes. Okay, so we'll do one more round of our stitch. Actually, wait. Nope. I'm done. The way you know you're done when you're doing this stitch, this bind off, is every single peg, like every other peg, is looped, basically. You don't want any two together. This is just creating less space for all that to cinch up at the top, because stitches like this that are very bulky, when you just do a pull string cast off, you end up with this big knot at the top. This just gives a nice flat top to it. So at this point, you're going to take your yarn, wrap it around. 1.5 times will be enough. And we're just going to do a regular pull string cast off at this point. Just going to run the string through all the remaining loops that are left. Once that is done, the rest is pretty simple. We just take all this off. And then you just pull the string tight. Almost. There we go. Okay, so this is what it looks like before you cinch it all up. This is what we're going to do. We're just going to pull that tight. You can take your crochet hook, weave it in, but that is it. Your hat is done. And you can see how that top is. I do want to show you this pattern. It is a reversible pattern, so this is what it looks like if it's inside out. This is what it looks like the other way. Inside out, your ridges here are a lot closer together. This one, they're spread apart more. So see, we spread this out, those are going to kind of stay together. If you spread it out the regular way, this is what it's going to look like. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this video. Any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe, and thank you for watching.